Are you going?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, these are my note cards for my talk speech. And then these two are listening to me. Okay, here you go. Okay, guys, I want you to think of a time in your life when you were told to listen and you didn't. And if it was either to a coach, a parent, a teacher, and something bad happened. I won't mention the time that I wrapped a jump rope around my sister's tooth and probably was told not to, but we can all guess what happened for that. So, today we're going to be talking about sports and listening in sports. And I think this applies to everyone, even if you don't play sports, because listening helps improve your relationships, it helps improve your work and your schooling, so I think everyone can learn from listening. I'm qualified to talk about this because I personally had to go through the listening process in sports, and I've had to become a better listener to be able to play at a collegiate level. So we're going to be talking about 3 questions about listening. The first one is, why is it hard to listen? The second one is, why do we need to become better listeners in sports? And the third one is, how we can become better listeners. So the first question, why is it so hard to listen? A study done by a 4-time Olympian athlete, Bo Hansen, now a coach, shows that we listen faster than we talk. It's called the 150-650 key. We talk at 150 words per minute and we listen at 650 words per minute. So there's a 500 word per minute gap that our mind wanders and usually is filled with our own thoughts. So that's why a lot of the times it's hard to listen. And there's also our textbook mentions 2 ways of ways that are bad listening, and there's hearing instead of listening, which you just hear words and you don't really process them, and there's mindless listening, and that's when you hear something and you have an automatic response because you've heard it so much. So those are some reasons why it's so hard to listen. The second question is, why do we need to become better listeners in sports? And I think it's important to show in anything we do that we're committed and we know what's going on, and the reason we can do that is because we're listening and we're paying attention. An example of something I thought that went along with this, I heard in a TED Talk, and it's a team from Argentina. They're a soccer team and they're all blind, and they went on to win 2 world champions playing blind soccer. The crowd, when they play, has to be silent, but they play by listening to where the ball is and communicating with their teammates. And I think that if we were as focused as them when we play sports or when we're in our work, then we will be a lot better in what we do. The third and the last question is, how can we become better listeners? And I think just reinstating what our purpose is. If we care to be there, then we're going to listen. And then the NBC Basketball Camp Association gives us 2 pointers, and that's to keep your mind attentive the whole time. They say to make a mental survey about what the person is saying, and the last thing that they say is to don't stop listening till the speaker is done. I know it's hard because our mind is wandering, but if we do that, then we will improve our sports and our work. So to wrap things up, we talked about why it's so hard to listen, why we need to become better listeners in sports, and how to improve our listening. And I think as we do this, that we will become better leaders. And I just like to end with a quote by a Japanese writer named Haruki, and he says, most people in the world don't really use their brains to think, and people who don't think are the ones who don't listen to others. I think everyone wants to use their brain, and as we do, we will become better sports players, better listeners, and better leaders. So I challenge you guys to try and listen better, and I know as you do, then you'll become better people. Okay, you